Hi everyone, Marvel D's Van here with another episode of the Speaking Nerd podcast. I did my intro wrong, but whatever. Sadly, AJ and Alter are not here, which is kind of a shame because we've been missing AJ the whole month, so
Yeah.
kind of sucks. But and Alter, who cares about Alter? Fuck him.
Yeah. He just randomly said, "No, I'm not available." I'm
Not
like,
available.
"Okay, screw you.
Yeah,
Get out.
fuck you.
Leave."
Just kidding. We love you, Alter. Don't tell anyone that. So today we're going to be talking about since we talked about horror movies. We've talked about a horror comic in some form or fashion, or at least related to Halloween. Today we're going to be talking about horror games. We're going to be going through the good, the bad, and the underrated, I would say. So I told them that we were just picking one of each for each category. So we have a good, a bad, and underrated. We're gonna sit down and talk about them, and yeah, that should be fun. So we'll start with the good, and why don't you go first? Because I'm really curious to see what you have for your list.
Okay, mine is a bit more. I want to clarify that I don't play that many horror games, but the ones I played I really like, and I'm not going traditional first-person horror games for the most part. I know there's third-person ones, but mainly Resident Evil has been at the top lately, or past years or so.
Yeah.
But my good category is actually one that people will hate if I'm putting it in the good, but I enjoy it because it's a fun co-op game, and I think you know where I'm going with this. Friday the 13th.
Okay.
I have fun with this game. It's a good game. I enjoy it. I mean, yeah, there's no story substance. There's nothing there. But
No.
You know what? I have fun. It's a fun game. And it's so stupid seeing that one blonde-haired dude's face, his eyes bulge out of his head when he sees Michael slash at him.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason. We just got off of a Halloween video.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's man. That's an interesting pull. I wasn't sure if you were going to go for that or not. I almost went for it, but then I was like, I mean, I do really like the game, but
there's better ones. There's really good story horror games,
yeah.
But I'm just not a huge horror player, so
yeah.
I have a lot of fun on this one.
Yeah, I do too. Playing as Jason is just a riot in of itself, and
it is.
I don't really care about playing as the camp counselors, but I do like them. Gameplay wise, I think they work a whole lot. The idea
if you have a group of friends to play together, then it makes it a lot funner.
Absolutely.
We have to do that. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my pick for good is Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because we've talked about Friday the 13th before, and I know that I mean I mentioned that I was a huge fan of that. I wasn't sure if I ever asked you what your thoughts on it were, but
what, Friday the 13th?
Yeah. We might have talked about it at some point, but I just can't remember.
Possibly, yeah.
But yeah, I think the game in general is, like you said, it's a whole lot of fun. I do like the whole customization, being able to play as different Jasons across multiple movies is
That's cool.
Awesome idea.
Yeah,
and
each one has a special power from each movie,
and yeah,
I really like that.
My only thing about that game is that I wish that because it's not finished, and that's the sad part.
Not.
Because of the lawsuit, they were never able to finish out their roadmap of DLC and all that. So
right,
and the fan community has been really awesome. There's
oh yeah,
the PC version. There's multiple definitive edition mods, and they've added in new maps.
That's really cool.
The ship from Jason X they
Manhattan.
added in.
Oh, Jason X.
Yeah. I think there's also a map from Jason Takes Manhattan, but the fans have really been really adding in the content and doing the work and
Yeah,
keeping the game alive, which is really awesome to
that's
see.
great. Yeah,
But yeah, it's just like it's such a shame thinking about that game and what it could have been, but it's still
I
really
agree.
fun.
Yeah.
All right. So my game for the good category is I know we mentioned first person shooters.
Yeah.
Mine is Doom 2016.
Oh, okay.
I really like it. It's a fun like reboot, and
Yeah.
it takes the core mechanics of what made Doom great, and pretty much brings it to the 21st century, or brings it to the 2010s or 2016, or I guess. And it really works. I really like it a lot. I like the story. I like the gameplay. Like the the glory kills are a lot of fun to pull off. The weapons are really fun, and
Hmm.
I think in general it just like it works really well as a game. But have you played Doom 2016?
I have not, but I've seen gameplay of it, and I think my brother has played it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really a big first person shooter guy. Like I'm not really into Call of Duty or like all them like multiplayer type deals. But I love Doom. Like that's one of the only few games first person wise that I've actually grown really attached to. So if you're into shooting demons in the face and ripping their jaws off and shit, then highly recommend Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, which is great too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think is a bad horror game that you've played?
Okay, so this is actually not just one; it's multiple because it's in the same series.
Okay.
And I want to clarify that the first three were good. Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm going in all different directions tonight. Okay, so when Five Nights at Freddy's was first coming out, as was everyone, everyone was totally enamored with the game. It was just like a huge internet craze. Everybody played it, everybody talked about it. So I was like, naturally, hopped on the train. Now, I enjoy the first one. I haven't played it in years, but I enjoy playing it. Like, and especially when you get behind the lore of all the stuff that actually is going on, I think it's really cool. Um, but after the third game, it just fell off completely. Like now, apparently there was a new one that came out. I haven't even played it or seen any gameplay, but apparently Freddy Fazbear is like good, or
Yeah.
he's like an ally. I'm like, what? What has happened? What has happened in the story that I've missed? But I don't even know how many games they had after three. But I know that a few came out, and then after that, I lost track. But the few that came out were not good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But I thoroughly enjoy the first three still.
Yeah.
My nerd ass over
My,
here.
like Five Nights at Freddy's just as as it started off was a really interesting idea, and I think after the second game came out is when it just started to kind of fall, because they had Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which was there's only one animatronic,
Yeah.
and also a bunch of weird gameplay mechanics like checking on your air supply and a whole bunch like keeping the power, like all that shit. That was weird. And the fourth game was kind of interesting, with it being you're not a security guard, you're just a kid in your bedroom, and you got these really terrifying ass animatronics. But yeah, like I think lore wise, it's really interesting. Like just even
Yeah,
across all the
definitely.
games, there's a whole giant narrative that's being woven through, and you know there are people who've analyzed the shit out of it and all that. So yeah, the new
Yeah.
game, I haven't played the new game, but the only real thing that I've gotten from it was just all the memes that came out. It's just like, Freddy, you're supposed to be locked down, Vanessa. But yeah, Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like it was good in its heyday, but like if I think about playing it now, it's just it doesn't have that same luster. So,
No.
um, yeah, that's all I have to say. So as far as bad horror games for me, um, this was a hard one because I haven't like played a whole lot of them that I thought were really bad, but there was one that did stick out in my head, and uh, the one that I went with was Until Dawn.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Very
just
good pick.
I never found the appeal at all. Um, it was made by Quantic Dream, which their games have been
Wait,
really
did you say
bad.
overrated or underrated?
No, I said bad. It's like,
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, what? Okay, continue.
no,
I misheard you.
I never liked it. Quantic Dream made it, and they made Heavy Rain, which that game is a piece of shit. So never really had any high hopes going in, but it's just like just nothing about it stuck out to me at all.
Yeah.
Like you got like these kids locked in a cabin in some snowstorm. There's killers there, and there's also monsters too. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Um, yeah, I've played it a couple times, and like after about, I want to say like an hour or so, I just put the game down. Like, there's
Yeah.
just nothing about it that keeps me coming back. So
Yeah.
just leave it in the dumpster where it found it. So what do you think is an underrated horror game?
I think Left 4 Dead 2 is an underrated horror game.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Left 4 Dead 2. I have a lot of fun on it. And I played it a lot as a kid, so I think nostalgia plays a part in it.
Hmm.
But that was a huge part of growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 are really good.
I remember playing with my friend because he had it. I never had it, but me and him would play
Hmm.
like Left 4 Dead 2 a lot, and
Yeah.
we'd just be mowing down zombies. It's like it is really a fun game,
Yeah,
and
it is.
I am glad that they're bringing that series back in some capacity, or they already did. I can't
Yeah, they
remember.
did. Back for Blood.
Back for Blood, a spiritual successor, which was much needed, I'd say, because like
Yeah.
was it was it made by Valve or like I can't remember, but yeah, that game is really fun.
Um, yeah.
So
What about you?
Left 4 Dead remaster, let's get on it.
Yes, please.
So the underrated pick that I went with is a reboot in the same vein as Doom 2016, and this is from a franchise that is very like love or hate. I went with Splatterhouse. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
ever played it or not.
I have not.
No? Okay. So the reboot came out in 2010, and it's based on an arcade franchise. Well, it started in the arcades back in like 88, 89, something like that. Essentially,
It's a beat 'em up game,
it
right?
is a beat 'em up, yes. Essentially, you're playing as like this roided out Jason Voorhees, or at least like he's got a hockey mask or something like that, and you're just
Hmm.
basically mowing down monsters and all types of weird shit. Like,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, like there's fetus monsters hanging on the wall. You fight a guy
Oh
with like
God.
chainsaws for arms and a bag over his head, and it's a weird fucking game, but it like it is really fun, and it's
Yeah.
hard too. The
Really?
arcade game is really hard. It got two more sequels, and then like the reboot in 2010. What I really like about it is that it basically is a culmination of all three games, but it expands
Hmm.
upon it in all the right ways. Like you learn more
Hmm.
about the villain that you're chasing down, the mask that you're wearing. The whole thing is you trying to save your girlfriend, and you learn more about their relationship and all that. Like it is a really interesting game story wise, and
Hmm.
like it sticks to its beat 'em up roots, and So it is like a third-person action game, kind of in the same vein as like a God of War or Devil May Cry type deal.
Yeah.
And like and it is the same thing too. You're ripping monsters to shreds. You can find weapons lying around, like a 2x4 and like a meat cleaver, and
Oh,
like
that's cool.
shotguns. Like, yeah, it is like it is one of those kind of games like I wish would come back in some capacity. Like if they did a remaster, I would love to play that. It was another
Mhm.
game that I never owned. Like my friend had it, and me and him played through it like one time, and it never left my mind at all.
That's cool.
So if you're interested, it is kind of rare to find, but like if you're into that kind of type of game, then I would say check it out. Also, if you really like heavy metal music, there's a really great soundtrack that they added, like a lot of licensed stuff. Like Lamb of
That's
God
cool.
is in there, and a few other like
Mhm.
type stuff. So it's a bit like like a really gory metal game you're into, then that is definitely worth checking out.
It's on console.
It's on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's backwards compatible, which is kind of a shame, but
Yeah.
yeah. Nobody ever talks about it, so I'm just like, yeah, that's underrated. But so okay, I don't. We went through both. Wait, did you say what your no? Wait, you did say what your underrated was.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a horror game you would love to see in the future? Like just whether
Oh,
it's like a multiplayer type deal like Friday the 13th or something more along the lines of Left 4 Dead or Five Nights at Freddy's, that kind of deal. What would you want to see?
mm. That's a good question. I want to see a horror game. I want to see a slasher game, but like a story-based game.
Mm-hmm.
So give me like Resident Evil kind of like story investment to where I want to know who the characters are. I want to grow with these characters, understand their background, that kind of thing. Um, but make it almost like a horror movie. Like have a story revolve around a couple people, have the main character, and then give us a villain. I would love to see that in a horror game.
Mm,
I guess that's just my nag for loving slasher films, but
yeah,
I would love that.
yeah, that'd be great. I know people are kind of sick of the whole horror games trend with popular franchises like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is getting a game. Evil Dead just got one, but I would really love to see a game like Halloween or Scream would be a
Yeah,
really fun one.
Scream would be cool.
Yeah.
Halloween would be super interesting because I would love to see what route they take. If they make like, well, what kind of Halloween game would you be interested in? Sort of a story based one, or more of like a very loose story based game?
Maybe like I would have it be a mix of uh have it be a mix of like Friday the 13th type gameplay and a story
Mm-hmm.
mode along the lines of I know I said it was a bad game, but something along the lines of like Until Dawn or The
Mm-hmm.
Quarry, which came out earlier. Like you have like maybe like a Michael Myers campaign and maybe like I don't know a Survivor campaign, whoever they decide to
Mm-hmm.
pick. Like
Yeah,
and have it be like in its own continuity, so it's not really interfering with the movies and
right,
such. Not trying to mess with
right.
that. I think that'd be really interesting.
That would be very cool. I would play it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. It's a lot
yeah,
shorter than I
that.
thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean, that's the perk of not having everybody show up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
So blame them for
Yeah.
for doing
Anybody,
that.
if you want to start a podcast, make sure everybody. If you have a topic, make sure it doesn't take up like that amount of time.
Yeah. If you have a poor,
Unless you have.
if you have a 4-person podcast, make sure to have at least 3 people.
Yeah. Well, but we did pretty well. We
Yeah,
usually do pretty well
that
considering.
that was a good list. I got like there was some good games thrown around. I gotta say, so
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
satisfied.
me too.
Do you want to plug anything before we leave? Tell the people what you're up to on the channel and whatnot. So
Got this new podcast with AJ. If you guys want to check that out, it's called the AJ Tour. We talk about, just two friends talking about life and things that we love, things that we hate. Um, just random topics. You guys tell us what you want to hear. We'll talk about it. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. You can follow us on all our social medias and check us out on YouTube.
yeah, awesome. Well, as far as me, like not really a whole lot going on, honestly. Just working on a lot of smaller stuff right now. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
smaller video projects. Maybe gonna start up a couple new series on November or throughout November. We'll see what
Nice.
happens, but yeah, I've just been really busy, so
Yeah.
it's hard to maintain a YouTube channel when you when you work 5 days a week. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill already. And if you're
Yep.
new,
You guys
then
should know.
and if you're new, learn the drill because we're not going to
Yeah.
tell you what it is.
Get on it
Get
now.
on it. Stop fucking around. I'm not sure what we have planned for November, but I'm sure we'll probably come up with some ideas. One thing I want to do is, since we've talked about Halloween, the movies, I want to do an episode on movie timelines and just kind of delve into Halloween and a bunch of
That'd
like
be very cool.
Halloween, X-Men, that kind of thing would be fun to
Ooh,
talk
X-Men
about.
would be sick.
Yeah. So, let us know what you in the comments what you think are, good horror games, bad horror games, underrated or overrated. But
Yeah. A
yeah,
lot of those.
yeah. But, yeah. See ya, I guess.
Bye, guys.